Hi everyone, one more here in Connectors program for Build Media for sure. Well, now I make a conversation in English because the guest for now is from UK for sure. One of the biggest DJs of house music and disco music and soulful music for sure. I think I'm one of the legends in the world. I'm very proud of with this conversation now. And here now is Michael Gray. How are
Thank
you?
you. I'm good, and it's lovely to talk to you as well.
Uh-huh. Well, where are you now? You are in UK, London?
Yeah, yeah. I live about 20 miles south of London, so I live in a county called Surrey.
Mhm.
So I'm close enough to go into London whenever I want and come out. It's perfect. I got the best of both.
How is the weather now? I think it's good now. It's like summer,
We
the finish of the summer, or
Yeah, we're getting
yeah,
fantastic
yeah.
weather. It's never as good as you guys, but we're we're getting
Yeah, yeah.
23 degrees. 24 for October is unheard of.
Oh, nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Well, here it's still hot every year, every point of time. In Brazil, you have rain, on the day a lot of sun for sure, so much hot. But in the more in the or the sunset time, it's like rainy all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
Well, the one time that I was in Rio and well,
yeah.
the 48 hours that I was in
Yeah.
Brazil for, it was definitely sunny. There was no rain.
If you
That was
come
10 years
here,
ago.
the best thing you need to buy is an umbrella.
Okay. I'll remember that for next time.
Okay. Well, for sure, all the people want to come here in that interview. I make the same question because I think it's very important. The beginnings. How you started in the 80s for sure, in the 90s. You started alone, or you start in the past time, in the first time with John in full station, or first you make your first recording alone in your home.
Yeah.
You, can you tell about that? Yeah.
Okay. So originally I started DJing at the age of 12 years old.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And I used to do these under 18s discos, which my dad organized at our church hall. And that went on for about 3 or 4 years. We did them every month. And from that, I just went on to DJing in clubs when I was 18 in London. And then after that, I got the bug to remix records and mix records together, put them on vinyl. Joined a company called DMC, which is known as Disco Mix Club. They do those mixing championships, stuff like that. And then from that, I started wanting to make original records. The first one I made on my own under a pseudonym of Greed. I then started chatting to Jon, he used to do the lights at a club I worked at. He was on the lights, the light jockey. And I knew he was a good keyboard player. And I said to him, look, I need to up my game. And would you be up for doing some tracks together? So that's then he came in and we became Greed together. And then from Greed, we had another pseudonym called Hustlers Convention, which was very sort of disco cut-ups.
Mhm.
And then we moved into Full Intention in 1995. That's when I wanted to change the sound
Yeah.
and make it sound kind of a cross between New York and the UK mixed together. So kind of quite chunky
Mhm.
disco, but with a house feel as well. So yeah, 1995, and we made the first record, which was America, a cover of Patrick Juvet's "I Love America."
Yeah, because I saw it. Maybe I don't know. Your biggest influence. I don't know in those years in the 90s. A lot powerful is like Prodigy and Orbital. You saw it that that music, or not too much, because I think it's so powerful and have a lot of influence. The same way Apex Twin. But you stay in other things like more house, more disco, no? Because
Yeah,
I don't know, I listen a lot of, I love all the how do you say, all the type of music like garage, because garage from UK is, have a lot of influence for now, But in your music, you still make the, how do you say, the more just house music. What do you think about that? For the influence, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been influenced by American house music, garage music. I was one of those DJs that was originally playing soul and funk in the 80s, and then I was suddenly dropping in this odd house record that I suddenly got hold of. So my influence was very much soul funk based, and that's what I always like to put into the productions, and obviously disco, that goes without saying. And so I've always liked records that groove. I'm not really so much into records with loads of noise. I just like, but records that groove, but quite powerful. So they can work in a large club or in a very small bar. You hopefully have the same kind of feel to it. Again, very influenced by Strictly Rhythm Records. Early subliminal.
For Frankie, for sure, huh? What do you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
well,
David Morales,
Larry Levan.
Yeah, and in terms of power, CNC Music Factory, the early stuff, their productions had so much power in it, and it just is like wow. So I'd spent ages with Jon trying to work out how we can get this really powerful, chunky sound in the studio, and spent ages on it. trying to get it good, but hopefully that's worked over the years.
I think one of your first releases is The Groover's Delight, in 1992, right?
Wow.
Well, do you remember that?
I do now.
No.
Yes.
It's from Street Records. Yeah. Do you remember that? That time, yeah.
Yeah, that's Hustlers Convention. This is pre Full Intention days.
Yeah.
So I think that's a Hustlers Convention one. Yeah, I have got them all on vinyl somewhere. But yeah, I mean, we were just cutting our teeth with this type of music because there wasn't many people doing it in the UK. No. There was only Dave Lee, aka Joe Negro, and a few others. So we're all kind of finding our way in the style that we wanted. And obviously there's some fantastic American producer DJs also making this, but there wasn't really that many. So we're all kind of learning as we went along.
Without social media.
Without social media, yeah. We didn't miss it because we didn't know about it then. Yeah, exactly.
Then your career with Jon, for sure, you have a lot of music, because now I founded music for Full Intention in Track Source. Bro, you have 424 tracks in Track Source.
Is that many?
Yeah.
Wow.
With a lot of remix, for sure, with other person, but it's a lot. And I'm very impressed for when you make, I think, I Love America, for sure, with a vocal from Nick Lowe, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. He
Can you talk about that history? Because I saw it, a lot of remix of that song, and you have a chart with that song. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We charted in the UK national charts. I think it was something like 28. So we were happy by that. And that was kind of our first thing. For us, though, funny enough, is that we managed to get on board all the DJs that we aspire to playing it. So we had everybody from Tony Humphries to Pete Tong to Armand Van Helden to all the people that we thought's on our tick list, would they ever play it? And they did. So to us, from being, producing dance music, that was just as big as getting in the charts with that record. That was a big thing for us because it's like an endorsement of your sound. Admittedly, we did change our names. If you look at the original pressing of America, Full Intention pressing, we pressed them in New York, and they were all shipped over from New York as imports, and we changed our names. So if you look, you'll see that I'm down as Curtis Silvers as the producer. Jon is Herb Scott. We wanted to appear American because we didn't want we wanted people to think we come from America, because again, in the UK, a lot of them productions, the house records, were either kind of techno, or they were very piano.
The same way of Prodigy,
So it was fine if we were going to make those sort of records, we'd get accepted. But because we were making this kind of sound that was a bit more American, we thought, well, and believe it or not, some of the UK DJs could be a bit funny like that about playing it. Oh, well, they're from the UK. But and by doing that, it worked. We managed to smash down loads of doors with DJs, and I don't think you can do it now because you can't just press up vinyl anymore.
No, and then you make a remix for Ultranate, right? To Destroy Rim, and you introduce your with American people, no? Yeah, very interesting. That remix.
What happened there is we started remixing for Simon Dunmore, who at the time was at A&M Records in the UK. He was getting these records, brilliant house records from Strictly Rhythm, and that was one of the ones that he licensed from Strictly Rhythm. And then I remember him saying to us, because he's also took us on for remix, and he managed us for remixing in the early days. And he said, "Would you like to remix?" Was like, yes. It's such a good song. And that was another time when I felt that we'd made it big. I was on holiday in Cancun in Mexico.
Wow, I live there. I love
really?
It. Yeah.
We were on holiday at this fantastic place we'd never been to. It was about 1997. It was called Moon Palace, and it had its own club in the hotel. That's quite something. And it was a proper club. And I remember just being on the dance floor with my wife, and then suddenly our remix came on. I was like, oh my god, we've made it. We're you just feel as if something's starting to happen with our career. It took a while, but we got there in the end.
For me, I need to talk about for the remix of Duke, So in Love.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's still fresh, because I listen a lot of DJ playing in that time. It's from 96, 95, I think so. Yeah, it's still fresh. How do you make that?
Thank you. Well, the irony of that is that I actually heard the original version when I was on this.
Can I tell you? I listen the original, but I prefer your remix for sure.
Oh, thank you.
It's totally different. It's different.
They're totally different.
Another history, I don't know. It's happened, right? I mean, it's like another track,
Yeah, I love the original too, and it wasn't that. It was just the fact that I heard that, and I just thought, what an amazing song. I was on this boat party in Rimini, of all places, and I remember just thinking, what's this? When something your ears pick up, and the DJ was playing it, and I just thought, I have to see if I can remix this. Now, normally record companies come to you, but this case I said, could we remix it? So, and because the records, actually they couldn't get it charted, and the deal was dropped in EMI at the time, so we got the multi-track. I remixed it with Jon, obviously, and it was harder than I thought to remix, because we were trying to get it nice and chunky and a bit like I Love America in terms of drive and the bass line. But of course, it was such a melodic song, which is good, but it was quite hard to try and... So that's why you'll hear on that record a lot of drum rolls and build-ups trying to get to that verse, because it's not as easy. You can't just go straight into it. It's quite a... It was hard. And when I finished it, I thought, this is good, but I'm not sure I'm really happy with it. However, we sent it to DMC. That's who we originally did it for, Disco Mix Club. The following Friday, Pete Tong played it on his show on Radio 1 in the
Yeah.
UK.
Wow.
And like suddenly I heard it totally differently. I was like, oh yeah, it's finished. It's definitely finished. I'm happy with that. It's quite funny. So, and now I'm very proud of it. It wasn't the easiest to remix, but I play it now from time to time. And what I love is the fact that there's so many DJs now, again, who I aspire to, who play it, who wouldn't necessarily play my other records or stuff that I've done with Jon before, but they play it and you're like, wow, you know, some really big names, and it's a really good feeling. And even much younger DJs, which is, to me, that's important.
I think I don't know, but I studied your career for sure with Jon because it's so powerful. Then I for sure I want to talk for the weekend, but you make a lot of remix or Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Frankie Knuckles. You know, I think in your mind when you listen to music, it's like, oh, I put a drums here, I put another bass line. I don't know, maybe, you know.
Well, when we hear those records,
you love my remix, yeah.
Normally the moment when the demo comes through, or you know, or the original version and what have you, and they say, would you like to remix it, the first thing I listen out for is the melody line in the chorus. If it's there, then I'm up for it. It has to be there. There's one or two we haven't, it hasn't been, but there's been something else in that track, a really good synth hook or something. I think we could do something with this, and we were very, very fussy, and it was an incredible period when, thinking about it, when you look back, the American major labels were coming direct to us, and you're thinking, God, this is incredible. And you know, you're making a lot of money back then, because it's not like it is now, where you know, we remix for probably an eighth of what we used to get. And it's amazing. The funniest one was probably when we turned down Boys to Men. We turned down a remix from them because again, a lot of these records that we remixed were R&B records. They were slow. They were 100 beats per minute, and we didn't have the technology then, you know, to sort of take these up to a house level and make them sound credible. I know we saw a lot of other people do that.
It's similar for garage, maybe.
Well, it was the fact that sometimes with R&B, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of syllables, because it's slow. And when you take that to house, it sounds cheesy. If it doesn't quite work, it doesn't groove. So we become very fussy. And Boys to Men is one that we turned down. And I remember the A&R guy said, look, the guys will fly in and re-record the bits that you're unhappy about. This is the bridge where it's they're near Gatwick Airport, London Gatwick. They'll be flying in this week. Can they come around to the studio and re-record it? And we were thinking, no, we still can't get around that. And we just, you know, looking back, maybe we should have actually done that, just to say, with Boys to Men. But I even had, they were saying Clive Davis wants to call you up. For those who don't know, Clive Davis is the one who signed. And he wants to chat to you about doing it. I was like, oh my God. Looking back, I should have taken that call. But we were just inundated with remixes. I mean, it was a crazy period. And not long after that, I had to say, I want a break, because we feel like you're on a machine, you're a factory. And the creativity is slightly going out the window. You want to get on with making original records. So that was about 2002 that Jon and I said we'll take a break from it.
Yeah, but a little break. I think so, because you still make music with him, right? But well, for sure, one of the best. I am very impressive of your sound, because I think you have a little obsessed of the bass line, because I don't know if you talk about that, because you know the bass line of the Weekend, you know, I when I listen that, it's like have too much things like Around the World for Daft Punk, you know, that bass line too much boom, 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 like so much funk, but in the past time, the same way of, I don't know, like Ray James bass, it's like, because I think one of the things of that track of The Weeknd, is one of your best track of all the time. Is the bass line, the bass line is so powerful, What do you think about that? What you make that track? For sure, because you take a sample for care for backup, but it's not the bass line,
the bass line, that's just something that came into my head. I had a sampler just with all the bass notes of a live bass, as a lot of us did then, and there wasn't these amazing soft synths with really good bass things back then, and I just played it in. I thought that sounds about right. And what I tend to do is put something down, come away from it, and then listen in about 3 hours time, and then just move a note and do this and do that. But back then I remember thinking, yeah, this is good. I'll get in a bass player to replay what I've done, which sometimes is not unusual. We did it with Full Intention when we started using live bass players, and his name's James, and he came down and he said, I don't think I can copy that. He said, I don't think he said, I'll have a go, but I don't think I can get it as good. And I played on a keyboard, albeit on the computer. I just moved the notes around because that's how I do it. It's very much step time producing for me, and he couldn't. And that is the original bass, where I just played in the separate notes, and especially the bit at the end. That's not even quantized. That's not even quantized. I just did it. I didn't realize that about 2 years later, nearly every electro record would have that style at the end. So, but that was just comes out of your head. And I when I made The Weeknd, I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to do it in the same style as the Full Intention records. I wanted it to sound slightly French, obviously, as we can tell, and just slightly different. So hopefully that's noticed.
What do you think now? What do you think is how now resurfaces again, and it's one of the most listened to tracks now? Carco, explain again your track.
Yeah.
What happened? Is like for the social media? I don't know, because I don't know. I played that track in 2006, or but now it's like it's still fresh. What happened with that?
I really have no idea. I'm not sure. It started off with it started off, with I wasn't Burning Man. It was another big festival. I remember got sent the footage where the DJ had played it to what looked like about 15,000 people, and I think that sort of kind of went viral, I think, and all of a sudden there was more DJs playing it. I know that hang on, let me think. I'm having a brain fog moment. The DJs that played Claptone started playing it. They started playing it.
Yeah.
And then
Adam Port, as well. Yeah.
And it kind of snowballs, I suppose. It's like any records, and I mean, it's just the original version that I made. The original version never had the verses. We added those for radio, but it's just the version that has the chorus, and which is the one I originally made. It's so funny when you keep seeing it. It keeps coming in. You keep seeing it coming. So the Carl Cox one, I've seen that come round now about 4 times over the last 5 or 6 weeks, which is great. So thank you, Carl.
For sure. And now, Michael, what is you stay in your career now? Because I saw it, you play in Sultra Festival, or it's a venue, right? Or So in Brixton in 25 November. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new night that Prince of Wales in Brixton asked if I'd like to do.
Yeah.
And I did the first one, which was April, and it was a
Well,
success.
first of all, Sotra is your label.
It's my label,
Yeah.
and also it's and we just thought we'd try out a club night, and it worked well. So we're doing another one, in November 25th. And it's kind of to pull the two together. The label, obviously, the last single we just had was Invincible with Tatiana Owens, and then the plan is to put out some more singles, and then next year release the album on Sultra. Funny enough.
Nice. And just you, or you have a lot of people in Sultra?
Yeah, no, it's just me, but I've tried to, with this whole album, I've used a lot of live elements. So, for example,
nice.
I've got an additional drums by Brave Freeze again. Derek McKenzie. How can I forget Derek? Derek McKenzie from Jamiroquai. So
nice.
he
that people is from UK, or?
Yeah, he's from the UK, and
nice.
he offered it's about 2 years ago. He said, if you ever want some extra drums on top of your house drums, so I would produce the record with basic house drums, and then we'd go to a studio, and he would then drum over the top to get more of a live feel. I'd get Russ Tarley. He's played percussion, so we've got the live percussion, live string sections. I've recorded all those, so we've got a string quartet. And horn section, but the idea is to make them sound powerful enough to work in a club with good house beats and production, but at the same time they've got all the disco elements. So it's writing fresh songs. So there is quite a few people involved. I work with different writers and different singers. Kelly Say, she's done a great job. And it's a really exciting time, actually. I really enjoy starting from the basics and building it up. But the whole album will be a cross between house and soul. So the album will be mixed. It won't be just house bangers. That's not what it's about. So
yeah, I listened to your last mix for soulful music and disco music. Yeah, it's like just you put like Rick James music. Yeah.
Oh yes,
actually you put it now in Instagram. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I that's where I get a lot of influence from. That's and going back to the bass lines that you were
the baseline.
Yeah. So when I was a teenager, very young teenager, I'd sneak into these clubs and I'd hear all these records and these bass lines. That's what moved me, and that's why we Full Intention, and Jon's the same. We have that real love of getting that bass line right. To me, it's got to be right. If you get that right, it's easy. I could put a one finger bass line on something, just something very housey and very simple. But to me, that's just too easy. I know it works. I totally get that, and a lot of house records have it. But I just love having something that grooves and just, I don't know, just go into places where a bass player would go.
It's like Be Yourself with Barbara Tucker. Right? Bro, I love that track.
Thank you.
It's too much disco. yeah. Because you have a lot of things like with Friend Touch, maybe. Yeah, why not? Yeah, because for example, Justin, do you remember Justin for sure?
Yeah.
Still that bass line. Yeah, that with the card.
Yeah. I love I love putting in bass lines wherever I can, where you can just go up the octave, a couple of passing notes, and just kind of get that slightly. I also like making, again, with the latest singles, You Got to Remember on Sultra and Invincible. I like to put the bridges back into house music again, how they used to be.
Yeah.
Where you have that lift before you then kick in with the chorus, and that's a great feeling where you can make the bass line just do something different, as long as it's, you know, I still make sure we got the dubs, so it's not too complicated, but with the dub mixes. But
it's like your message is like for the new producer in that era, is like going to the disco, going to the past, because you know you found it a lot of, you know, things very important, you know. What do you think? Yeah, for sure, because all the, no sé, I talk with the new producer for sure, but just listen the tech house music for now. But I tell all the people, look, go in the past. You know? Yeah, very interesting.
To make records, I think you've got to have one foot in the past and one foot in the future. You have to think of what is coming next. Like records I'm making now, I'm putting together now, are more for 2024, 2025. I already have made the bones of those records that are coming out in 2 years' time. What I think might be going towards that way. I can't guarantee it. No one can, but you have to really. You know, we're only talking about small adjustments here. But you know, early 80s is very that sounds, I hear it. I go out and hear other DJs. I like to hear other DJs play, and I listen to their sets and what have you, and to me, I get influenced by that as well as things that just pop up in my head. But it's important. Yeah, you'd be surprised. It doesn't matter whether we're a techno DJ or whether DJ.
Well, now finish the conversation. I am really proud for this conversation, and you are very kind. Thank you so much for your time, for sure. Well, all the people found in your social media, right? I put here Michael Gray official, right? Yeah, the right, Instagram.
Yeah, DJ Michael Gray official. Yeah, that's it on Instagram.
Maybe I don't know. People want to send you a demo or a promo. You have an email, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If they just, I mean, the thing is, I don't. I'm not signing anything to Sultra. It's only my label. It's just for productions that I've made with featured singers, things like that. So any singers that want to send me in stuff, of course, yeah, or any songwriters, always looking for good songs. But probably the easiest way nowadays is just to hit me up on my Instagram Messenger. That's probably the quickest way, I would say. I tend to go through all that.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for this conversation. House never die on disco.
I certainly hope not. It's been going for so long now. I don't think that's going to happen. That's good.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you as well.
Yeah.
Take
Bye.
Care. See ya.